It says Town of Berry live stream, correct?
Well, I clicked on live stream on their website, and now it's telling me waiting for Tom Berry.
I've got it live right now. I think I might have found the problem. It looks like somebody busted the little piece right here. That shouldn't be sharp like that. I got a feeling that's what happened. That got broken. But you're not getting me whatsoever. Because I do have my microphone turned on right here directly in front of me. If I click on that, it's the red button up on top now. If I click on that, it'll turn everything off. And I've got the microphone unclicked on the TV screen monitor.
I mean, it has a green screen.
Green screen saying Town of Berry live stream.
Yeah, I have that.
Okay, that's the only thing I can get, because if I go over to this, it should have changed for you, right?
I still have just the green screen.
Yeah.
The device is not available.
Yep, that's the camera. So I'm going to go back over to hide, which means all it'll show everybody is the Town of Berry live stream. My concern is, can you hear me? I don't mean on the phone.
I do hear you.
Okay. Okay, if you can hear me and they see that, they don't need to see us in the room itself. So we can conduct business this way then. I got 15 minutes yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the mic for right now, but I'm going to leave it on a live stream. Okay, let me know if anything changes. we're still having a problem, and I think I found it, but I gotta wait till our IT guy comes back. It's a little thing that plugs into your USB port, and as a result, the camera will not be working. What you will see the whole time is a green screen saying Town of Berry Live. So you'll be able to hear us, you just won't be able to see us in here. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Purpose for this board meeting, special board meeting, is for only one reason, and that is to discuss our budget for 2022, which is presently our tentative budget. And that way then we have our public hearing next week, and any changes or modifications we need to make, we will, after our changes we make this time, become preliminary, and then we vote on the new budget at our board meeting on the 11th?
10th.
10th. Okay. Okay, is there any segments of this that anybody wishes to talk about or ask or inquire or whatever? We'll let you know also, Shelby, I would generally have her online as well, but she's off on vacation this week. So if there's some question along some line that we can't answer, or have the answer for here, then we will have to wait till next week, Monday, and hit Shelby up with it real quick.
I guess, the traffic program.
What's the budget line number, please?
2611, AA 2611.
Thank you. Traffic diversion program.
Right. Where in 21, we had 15, and now we got 45.
Yeah, I had marked the same one because in 19 it continuously rises. We only budgeted 45, but we got 15, and I think that we could tentatively budget at least 8,000.
I guess I don't understand what it's for though. I mean, traffic.
Well, the first part there, it is under revenue, so that's money that we bring in to the town.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
So this is under traffic diversion program, which our courts haven't been very active, other than those that just automatically plead guilty or pay their fines automatically. Maureen, can you address a little bit deeper? We're not collecting the funds like we used to pre-COVID.
Correct, but could you give me the line again?
2611.
About halfway down the revenues on
Yeah.
this page.
I just didn't know what it. I guess when I think of traffic, I'm not thinking of court. I'm thinking, you know.
I like the idea. I put it low because this is income coming in.
Okay.
We have no idea how much we might be getting in the next year.
Right. Right.
So I'd rather be under
Yes.
than over.
Okay,
Yes.
do you want me to give you a quick
Yes, please.
synopsis? Okay, the traffic diversion program is a name the district attorney's office has come up with. What that is an online course that a defendant that's received a speeding ticket anywhere here in the county can apply to their office and take care of it by taking a 2-hour course or whatever. And then the DA's office would withdraw the ticket. They would present it to the court and ask the judge to withdraw the ticket. It costs about $200-ish. And then therefore they have no fines, no surcharges. The defendants don't have to pay. What that does then, it changes our revenue just on different lines. While we had COVID going on, a large majority, we mushroomed the amount of people taking the traffic diversion because we were not open because of COVID. Nobody coming in here, everybody was being funneled through to take that course, or majority of the people. Therefore, as you can see in the fourth column over, our revenue estimate for this year is jumping up to 15,000. That's by the sheer number of people that are taking it because we've not been open for vehicle and traffic. That is going to be changing. We are opening again beginning the 1st of November. So we're opening again. So therefore, we're going back to the old way of they're going to appear in person. They will then decide guilty or not guilty. If it's not guilty, what do they want to do? Their options. Some may still do traffic diversion, but they still have other options open to them, like they always have. So you may see that once they can come in person, you see more of that will go down. Probably more in the lines of 2019, which was 7,000, because people just not wanting to go out as much. So your supervisor's probably being very conservative with 4,500, but that's a better way to do your budget and then have it. Does that explain anything?
Yeah, I just didn't understand it, that's all.
Right, does that
I mean, when you
suffice?
see 15 on one, and then 45, I mean, that's a
Huge.
big difference.
You can directly relate it to COVID.
Okay, that's all right.
Could we increase that to 7,500 though? So we're still less than the actual in 2019. But I think that realistically, even if we're open, I think that people are more prone to kind of continue doing that. And I still think that that's a conservative number, but still not a, I'm not saying 1,500, which is what we brought in, but I think it would be just more realistic.
Well, in these uncertain times, it's hard to be realistic.
Right.
Maybe perhaps 5,000 or 6,000 now.
I was thinking
6,000?
I also had a question on the franchise fees. I thought that was it is AA 1170. It's the fourth one down under revenues. I thought that was a pretty consistent number. That's for like the towers, the telephone towers and such, I believe. I could be wrong on that. And I was thinking that we could bump this up to 14,000, and still be, because that's a pretty set thing.
Lee, could you explain what those franchise fees are?
It's more from Time Warner that nothing with the cell towers. And you're in the process of redoing the contract, so.
Does it look like it's going to go down that much?
Well, once again, like I said, you can see we budgeted for 11.5 in 2021. I try to be on the shy side. I'd love to have the extra money come in. That way I can work the overall budget for those numbers. What comes in versus what comes out. I'll take a look at that. I'll go to 13 with that. I'll look at that as being 13. Because if I think we get a percentage based on the number of people that have signed up with Spectrum, and we have expanded the Spectrum throughout the town, so it should be a little bit better. I don't know yet. I'll go with 13 there. Next.
My next one is on the appropriations. Do we want to jump there? Or? Okay. AA 1430.100. Personnel, personal services. That one has increased by $13,000. AA 1430.100.
Yeah, you know what that is? That's payroll. And that's where Lee's position.
So,
We had approved her to go to the full-time position.
but that was last year. So last year we approved her, right? Last year's budget, we approved her to go to the full time, which is the 22,000.
But last year, for 2021, she was still getting paid out of a line with the CEO. She was getting paid out of a line from the planning and zoning boards, and then out of a line from me. We consolidated those for this coming year.
I don't think that's accurate. Because when we've gone through and paid bills, and I don't see. So last year, the supervisor, personal service clerk didn't get anything out of that budget. Then, and that was in 2020, the actual was $13,646.08. I don't see where the zoning. Let's see here.
That's true.
But last year it was just out of that. Was my understanding.
The other thing we looked at, if you take a look at payroll going out, you'll see that all your clerks have increased because of the hourly rate too.
So right, so I see the clerks, but that's like 2%. It's not.
No.
Yeah, so the like if I look at from 2021 for clerks line item AA 1410.100 going from 30,742 to 31,357, that's 2%. That's a 2% increase. The deputy clerks was a higher increase, but it's not. I mean, that's over a 50% increase.
What I looked at in doing payroll and calculating what everyone should get paid. First of all, how much were they making above the minimum wage at this time? Okay. Then I took that percentage of that amount, set it aside. With the minimum wage going up to $15 per hour, then what I did is, okay, there's $15. If they're $1.25 above minimum wage, if they were $1.25 above minimum wage this past year, then they went to $15. I put that $1.25 on top of that. Then they got a 2%.
I don't think that that's an appropriate way to do that.
I'm sorry.
Because it would be like it doesn't seem proportional. The personal services going up that drastically compared to the clerks, it's not.
Okay, like I've always stated, when you are talking a 2% raise, if you go across the board, you have to look at what the person starts at to talk about a 2% raise. A 2%, forgive me to throwing you under the bus, Dale, but if you look at his salary and you talk a 2%, that's okay. That's pretty good. If you look at my deputies right now at our $12 an hour, 2% of $12, who can tell me how much an hour increase that is?
25 cents.
That's squat. And I told Supervisor Pogue back in April, this is the year that I want my deputies looked at. I want the court clerk looked at, and I also then said Lee because she fits into that same group of hourly employees. And they were getting paid crap. If I was to bring up like the highway guys that about longevity, I started as court clerk in '85. So if we want to start talking longevity pay, I was no longer felt that $15 an hour for my responsibility when we are paying the people who empty our garbage close to that or more. The responsibilities of court clerk, not to mention training the new judges repeatedly, I felt 2% should not be discussed. I've also told Supervisor Pogue, discussing minimum wage when you're discussing these. I will agree with Mrs. Richardson that I didn't feel it was a right way to do it. Because I would go as far as to say I think all four of the individuals should be offended that when our wage is discussed, minimum wage is brought up. Why? Why should these positions that are here be thrown into a basket of minimum wage? Why does that even get brought up?
I think that
When we talk about the highway employees and their new contract coming up, we don't start out by saying, well, what minimum wage is right now, and then go on with their salary. So I would like to remove the discussion of whatever minimum wage is now or will be. I don't care. I brought up in April what I thought would be comparable for these positions and what I felt these positions should be getting paid for a change here in the town of Berry. And I'm the one that brought it up in April.
So Maureen, when I'm looking at this, I am seeing that your increase, and this is where I'm having a hard time with this. Your increase, when I calculate it out, is only a 2% increase.
For the town clerk.
For the town clerk.
Correct.
The deputy clerks are going from less than budgeted, but $5,457 to $8,296, and that wasn't where I was.
That is not what they're getting.
I wasn't having an issue with that.
That is not what they're getting because they're not salaried.
Right. It's based on what their rate and what they actually work.
Because come organizational.
Right.
I am going to be requesting then an increase in their hourly from $12 an hour to whatever we discuss, whatever we decide on. But at that, I know Mr. McCabe will be one that will ask me that day in January, is the money budgeted for it? And I need to be able to say yes.
Right, and I agree 100%.
If they do not work, they will not get any of that money. That money will be there at the end of the year. Like this past January when not a single deputy worked because of COVID. Right. I brought taxes home every day, worked until midnight, brought them all back, brought them home again the next day to stay current. I did that every single day in January because not a single deputy worked. That's why you're seeing a rollover.
Right, and so I want to, first of all, I appreciate the effort and what you have put in and the time and energy that you have put in. What I am going through and saying here isn't, I didn't, you can even look at my paper. I did not highlight the clerks because I went through and I did the calculations and I calculated out that your increase was 2%. Yes. I calculated out, so I think where the minimum wage comes in is $12 is actually under legal minimum wage. Legal minimum wage is $12.75 right now. It's going to go up not to $15 at the end of this year. It goes up to $13.20.
Correct.
When was that decision made?
When was the $13.20 going up to that?
October 1st.
And I had to have this all in a tentative budget done by state law.
And again, why are we discussing minimum wage when it comes to these women that have been working here?
Because what I'm looking at is making sure that they do have a better pay. I agree with you. They deserve more.
I realize that. I just would like to remove the discussion of minimum wage off of it.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
So where I am struggling though is when we're looking at the personal service, that line item for one person going up $13,000, going up from 22,000 to 34,320. That's an over 50% increase, and that's after that this.
Is that because of the increased hours?
It went last year we were full time. this past year, in January, we agreed to go full time in January.
Okay, because Sean, what you've proposed for the bookkeeper would be $16.25 an hour, correct? And if you multiply that times 40 hours,
At 52 weeks.
I know it's not my department, but what are the other towns doing? What do the other towns get?
I did not look at other towns. That is a rabbit hole that you don't want to go down, because other towns have tried to do it calling here, and vice versa. Your duties, your responsibilities.
Well, that's what I'm asking. What are their duties? Do their duties compare to what our clerks do?
From
Or
what
are
I
they
have,
more?
from what I have here, and this is for the town, or for the county, and not every town gives all that information. Yes, I have Lee down for $13.77 an hour. This is for 2021, I'm sorry. But even based on that for 2021, town of Kendall pays a flat rate of $6,700. Town of Shelby pays $16.97 an hour. That's all I have, are just 3 different towns.
I know with deputies alone, Dale, your question, most of your towns have one at least deputy that's full-time. I'm not looking at that. I don't need a full-time
I
deputy.
didn't know if they had the same
So,
duties or, that our clerks have. That's what I was getting at first, before you start comparing them as far as money wise.
that's why it's so difficult to compare. It really is. It always has been difficult to compare. I went off the responsibilities here.
I guess I would like to see the numbers on that, kind of everything broken down. I'm not saying that I'm 100% opposed to it, but that's
They need everything broken down.
like what you're looking at per hour, number of hours a year, how you came up with that number. You don't have to do it now. We can.
No, I'm doing it right now.
Okay. Because I have other ones.
Okay, well, I just quickly did what I said a few minutes ago. 16.25 times 40 hours times 52 weeks, and I came up with 33.8.
Yeah.
So I think that could explain.
And what I had was her at $16.50 an hour. 40 weeks times 52 weeks times $16.50 an hour. I came up with $34,320, which is what I got right there, $34,320.
I think. I guess that part of the challenge is that I don't see a job description. I don't see, last year we were talking about the hours being broken up, and I see that she's doing a lot of work for you, Sean. But I'm,
She do a lot of work for this town board, not just for me, this town board.
okay. So I guess that I'm struggling in that, I think that this is a significant portion of money in our budget, and, that this, a significant increase,
What was happening on this thing? Everybody is getting paid way down, and they should have been raised along the way. And the unfortunate thing is, this year we looked at it, and they don't want to hear minimum wage, but we wanted to make sure nobody was down below minimum wage.
And I realize that.
So
I realize that's what Mr. Pogue has been trying to do. I just take umbrage with that being brought up. I understand. What?
That terminology.
Correct.
And I
Being lumped in
understand
with
that,
it.
but
Right.
you gotta have a plateau someplace to start, because our people were getting less than that.
I realize, but
And now we look at what their job duties are, how important it is. Okay, now we decide this is what they should be getting, and we also should look at the other people around the area, what they're getting, so we're comparable. And basically, that's what happened with this here, all of these raises all at once. So you're gonna see a big jump in this. It's not where you can go along 3%, 4%, on through every year. They try to bring them up in 1 year to where it's comparable that they're getting.
Mr. Pogue stated a month or so ago when we last discussed this, is that his vision for it would be to get these individuals up to a respectable, and then from then on, then every year, it could be a 2% and it won't be discussed. It'll just be, everyone is 2%.
Right.
We're gonna have to have another leap next year when the minimum wage gets increased again, so why not take care of it right now? Then we don't have to play that game next year, and we'll just work on percentage increases.
what, Maureen, you were saying, what was the rate that you were looking at for the, deputy clerks?
Deputy clerks would be $15.25. That one, I've been a deputy. You ask them to do anything you would do while you're not here, but at the end of the day, anything that can come up can get passed to me. It can, the town clerk's not here right now, tax collector's not here right now. When she's here, and then I call the people back. So there is responsibility. You have to be able to handle the taxes and whatever comes across, and the phones. It's still, when you do the drive-through of Tim Hortons and see that they're starting at 15 to, I say, flip burgers or make smoothies, it is embarrassing then to come back here and realize the women that you're asking to cover your position is making what they're making. But I felt it was comparable for now because compared to what they are at, they're at 275. I stand corrected. It wasn't 12. I round everything. It's just my brain. So they're 275. But that is the bare minimum. And she has joked, because it's a joke, but when it's a frazzling night and you have especially the people that are calling to complain about something totally not in our hands.
Right.
And they're yelling at you, and she looks at me and says, geez, I could go flip burgers for this money.
Right.
For more than this. So that is how I came up with it. The responsibility, though, is not the same as I felt with Lee, that needs to be on top of things. No one is going to inform her or hand the work to her. And then just court, I thought, deserves to be higher yet. One, for longevity, alone longevity. If somebody in that position that's been doing it, countless not censuses, audits from both the state and local for court that have been fine. So, I've been doing it for 30 years, and the amount of responsibility. I remember well, some of your councilmen might remember the night when the prior cleaning crew kind of did a staged walkout and refused to continue cleaning till they got a raise. And after the town board passed the raise, I informed them that the cleaning ladies were now making more than the court clerk. If I screw up, somebody, could be your husband, goes to jail when he shouldn't, or someone who shouldn't be walking the streets is. It's a little bit of responsibility.
And I understand that from just a perspective of trying to, you know, not raise taxes, trying to look at areas. I do think that it's very important to pay employees well and to make sure that that they have, you know, I think that part of it is that New York State has made changes that have put us way far behind the 8 ball and makes it very, very challenging. That being said, I also think that it's important, and I guess you know, since I came on, I have asked for job descriptions and for what is it, because I think that raises for the sake of raises is a dangerous thing to do. And I'm not saying, I don't want to be misunderstood as saying that our team members aren't working or aren't doing their job or anything along those lines. But I think that it's really important to understand that this is the expectation and this is the job that we're looking to have done. And these are the tasks and responsibilities, so that because I personally believe in merit-based raises. And if, you know, if we can come back and say, look, this is all of the things that this person was able to do for our town and keep us out of trouble or keep this, you know, whatever, I understand that. But to come in after, you know, last year we had this discussion and it is a significant raise in our budget, and so it's something that I think that it's in our best interest, in our best due diligence, to make sure that we go through this and that we talk about it and that we don't just say, yep, okay, looks great, and move on. So that's
So what are you looking for? Decrease all of these raises that these people will get?
no. Well, I think that we should look at a happy medium and look at this. I guess what I would really like to see is the actual job description, and be able so that when somebody asks me, you know, how come they're making X or Y or whatever, and have been over here making this, just make sure that I can very easily and succinctly be able to justify that decision,
Well,
as I think each of us needs to be able to do.
I really don't think any of this is out of line. Plus, today, you go out and try to find, we'll say 4 people. Qualified, and will they show up? Try to just find them first to hire. I mean, you go down the road anywhere, help wanted, help wanted, help wanted. They get the job, and in about 2 to 3 days they quit. So, how do you put a dollar value on somebody that shows up every day and does their job? I don't know. I really don't. But it's very important. They're not worth anything to us if they don't show up. So let's go through this budget and see how we end up at the end of the budget on stuff before we say, well, we better cut this, we better.
Well, and like I'm sorry to interrupt you, Lynn, but these dollar amounts we're throwing out, again, it's a savings account, I call it, that you are looking at tonight. That is a lump sum that I call, for people that would understand it better, you're putting it into a savings account. Right. We call it a line item. If for some reason we cut that back to $10 an hour, that money that you're putting in there right now is going to be in there a year from now. Or if all 3 of those individuals quit. If your court clerk quits, if Lee quits, all that money is there for you to play with a year from now. Okay. But we will decide on this at our organizational. That is when this discussion, if you want to come, I'll invite you to court now that we're opening again. You can come to court. I will take you through and show you what I can show you. It would be better to do that and have you come and watch than for me to take my time, because I don't have the time to stay current on what I should be doing, than to take my time and list everything a court clerk does. I will show you. It'll be faster.
So the right now in the animal hospital, we're going through a transition. And what we're finding is that by not having taken time to go through and list out and identify the specific roles and responsibilities and when you get into that transition period, when somebody else is coming in, because you are doing a great job right now, and I'm not saying that you're not, but when somebody else comes in and you leave, it then puts the town in a position of, we don't have anything. We don't even know. We know that she did a lot,
Right.
but we don't even have any.
You would be
any
sending her to
description.
the state school, and I can give you their brochure, not their brochures, are my volumes that tell me as a court clerk what I need to do. So if you want to take those volumes, you can see exactly what a court clerk is supposed to be doing, because the state tells me what I'm supposed to be doing, just like the town clerk.
And when we-
Right now, we're talking about a budget. If we're going off on a tangent, talk about job descriptions. That's something we can talk about at a later time. But right now, we need to look at the budget. That's the sole purpose of this meeting.
My next question is on line item AA 1620400.
16200?
1620.400. Building controlled expenditure. No, next one down, the controlled expenditures. It's in here as being requested at 11,000, but the tentative budget is at 20,000. I see we're over budget by over 6,000 estimated for this year.
Which one you got? Communications?
No,
No, it's 162.
Building's contractual.
400.
the expenditures.
I got it checked too.
Okay. Reason that did get bumped, and I think the main reason why it got bumped, not that we're gonna be making that much money, was because of the cleaning crew we did hire. When I wrote the first budget, they weren't in consideration. Then, for the tentative budget, I took them into consideration. That's where the biggest jump comes in, is because of the cleaning crew. And they get approximately $400 a month. So that would be $4,800 a year.
Okay, we're still 4,000 off then. I mean, I see where we've
Back at 20 in 19.
right. So that's what I was going to ask: is why were those so high, and then we went down? Did we purchase something?
Right here.
I was just gonna say.
The air conditioners.
Okay. So we won't. So okay. So those we won't be doing again. So So then we should. So we're still 4,000 above if we include the cleaning crew.
You're projected at 18 now.
No. So we. Oh yeah. So right now. Yeah, we're projected at 18.
So you're only $2,000 off.
Yeah.
As Lee was just pointing out, electric and gas, those bills get paid out of this line.
Oh, well, that's gonna go
And
up.
that's gonna go up.
Yeah.
They're just talking about what the winter rates are gonna be for gas. Fuel
You
oil.
probably should increase this then. Is that gonna be enough?
We've got a $4,000 buffer.
Well, I just soon.
I feel comfortable with it being at 20,000 at this time.
Because even if we don't use it, we still got it. I'd rather have a buffer than say, well, now we gotta come up with whatever it could be. It's almost scary what it might be. I guess I don't understand why, I mean, we're that close. We're not that.
Well, I just was, I mean, we were 9,000, and so the cleaning crew does explain a lot of it. So I just wanted to make sure, as I'm going through and looking, that's what we're supposed to be doing, is seeing where we have questions.
I've got a question on 5122-200. The capital outlay was
Yep.
6,000. Now it's 35,000. I don't know what that's all about. Really.
Front parking lot.
Huh?
The front parking lot.
Okay. All right. That explains it.
To repave the whole
Yeah.
parking lot?
This front parking lot in front of the town hall is a binder now. And it's been sealed, I don't know how many times over the years. It should be topped.
Okay.
It's already started to deteriorate.
And in another bad shop out by the hole up there in front of the barns. This isn't just in front of the building either, it's directly between the two buildings too.
That's all right. I just didn't, I saw that big gap and I'm going, well.
Yep. And that's with us doing the work.
Yeah.
You can't get much cheaper than that.
All right.
What about the parks equipment? AA 7110.200. I could be wrong. I felt like we just bought a tractor
No, it's for the barn.
for the barn.
Building of the barn.
Storage barn at the park.
I did
All
not.
the equipment sits outdoors at this time for the hazards of the elements. This would be a storage building the equipment would be placed inside of it. Very minimal cost on that, it's not gonna be heated, insulated, and all that other stuff.
So that's the total cost of that is expected to be 36,000.
So once again, that's the crew doing the work.
And where is that going to be located in the park?
You go in the driveway facing east and look directly north when you get to the first turn.
Okay.
Where the equipment sits now.
Okay.
I've got a question on hospital insurance there.
Which line, 9060.8 or 0.801?
0.8. Yeah.
Hospital and
Should-
medical
should-
insurance.
Should we be higher than that?
That's based on the numbers that we received from the insurance companies, and I forwarded it on to Shelby, so I could get some numbers, and she felt that was a number we could work with.
Okay. I just question it because, well, we have no control over that.
No, we do not.
They tell us.
The insurance company goes to the state, and they request like 12% hikes.
Yeah, I know.
And then the state comes back and says, no, you can only get a 6% hike.
Right. Right.
They did come through? Okay, so we just got the interest rates. So that will be looked at then.
For AA 7110.400, the parks controlled expenditure, the second line down. That one I'm curious as to why it's still at 10,000. We were over budget by 2,700 this past year, and our actuals in 2019 and 2020 were both above that. So I'm not sure if there's going to be less of a cost this upcoming year.
We pay 1 week for, is it two guys or all the guys? Are they
All the guys.
All of them are charged for the part?
Yeah.
One week. And then the part-timer comes out of that too.
So are we gonna be under that 10,000, or do you think we're gonna be like this year was 12,711?
Which I don't understand why, because.
It's the 0.41 of the contractual.
Yeah. Oh, you're right, no, you are 100% right. Is that the one you're looking at, Terry, or are you looking at the contractual 400?
I'm looking at 400.
Okay.
That one, we budgeted in 2021 for 10,000, and we're estimated to be over budget by $2,711. In 2022, we're requesting 10,000, and the tentative is 10,000. But I feel like in 2019 it was 12,000. 2020 it was almost 16,000.
I'm trying to find why.
Okay.
Well, I know you did a bunch of fixing on the fence,
Yeah.
and then you brought in a bunch of clay.
Yeah. No, I got it. It's here. I mean, that's what was budgeted was 10, and I don't understand why it's up so because. I'm in my book, Carrie. I'm $850 over.
Okay.
That 10 grand. I don't know where, without looking at the.
Where they're getting the estimated.
Yeah. What's our system we have with AccuFund? Yeah. Without looking at AccuFund, I don't know why we're over that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The dumpster comes out of there. The porta john.
Right.
Most of it's repairs for tractors. A lot of Bentley Brothers, LB and Ace, nuts and bolts and stuff. And I only charge fuel to it once, no twice.
As a little sidetrack on that, I asked Scott Madison the cost of piping Water District 10, so we can get that thing rolling next year. Prices of piping have gone up still. They haven't gone down, still increasing in cost.
Those are all my questions for general. I do have a couple highway.
Sean, the HSAs will probably go up in 23, correct? When the union contract is renegotiated?
I do believe so.
Are they 22? No.
No, they got another year.
Right, but it
You talking about the contract or for the HSA.
Yeah, but don't,
The contract, we have to start negotiations in 22 for a new contract, because it
For-
expires December of 22.
right, that's what I'm saying.
But HSA,
This one
you're talking
shouldn't,
about the insurance.
yeah. But that won't go up in 23? I'm just looking, it just crossed my mind, that's all.
Yeah, our present contract is taken into consideration for this, but in 23, more than likely it will go up, yes.
Okay.
Sean, can I ask, what is the amount that they have to pay before their insurance kicks in? And the HSA is a percentage of that, or is it the whole thing?
The HSA, now, with the HSA is a 50-50 deal on that, on their contract. The amount of money they have deposited into that.
And that rolls over for them, if they don't use it.
I don't believe so.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It should.
I think it does, Sean.
Yes.
I remember that discussion we had. Because you have the HSA, you have what is it,
FSA.
EC?
FSA doesn't
There is a
roll over.
different one, right,
FSA.
but this one
Okay.
rolls over.
One rolls over, one does not.
Yeah, and whatever you don't use in that
It's
period
carried
of
over
time
to the following year.
goes back to the general fund.
It's theirs.
Yeah.
Once I get it,
Right, it doesn't go to the general fund. It's deposited into the
Yeah,
individual, no,
Oh, the HSA.
HSA.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, we put it right directly into their account with their name on it. You can't touch it. That's right, thank you.
Can we go on?
Yes,
I've got a question on, it would be 510-1, general repair services. I guess last year that was estimated at 80,200.
What's the number again?
5110.
0.10.
It's the top one under appropriations.
Yeah.
once again, we budgeted 75, and we're at 80,500.
Is that because we'll be selling one of the ones that causes most repairs and getting a new piece of equipment?
No, that's your personnel.
General-
100 is personnel.
General repair services
Okay.
is personnel? Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know it by the.
Yeah.
Anything with a .1 is personnel.
Oh.
Should that be increased then? Because if we're at 80,210 for this year, we're 5,000 over an estimated.
But that's contractual for that.
Right, so it should be like a set.
Shelby does that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any idea, why we're like 5,000 over on that?
No. They say Shelby does those.
They're just based on what she does for paychecks and everything else.
I feel like every year I get to learn more about chips. So
So do I.
No, that's a good catch, because Dale, you had put down, and I copied it, and that's supposed to be 77 for 22.
Did I?
Yeah, you got 77 on your sheet, and I agreed with it.
Oh, you agreed with me? Well,
Yeah, I that should have been, I had put down for 77, I agreed with you on that, for 77, for 22. But still, that doesn't explain why 5,000 ordinance.
Yeah, I did have 77.
Good catch, Mark.
And then I guess my next question would be, why your chips, capital? I always get confused with this
Yeah.
anyway.
So, the down and dirty of chips is, we don't know what we're gonna get
Right.
until April of the year that we're working in. We have to throw this number in here in the fall before that, or September before that, so.
Okay, I mean, the only reason I'm looking at it is, it's 153 this year, next year, and it was 313, so I mean.
Right.
I
Because.
just see the difference and I'm saying,
Yep.
I know we have no control over it.
Chips is usually pretty steady, so that's what you see in the budget now, that 153. The state's been giving us extreme winter recovery and Pave New York. That's like another 75,000 on top of that.
If I remember also, at the time we
Actually,
did this
more than that.
budget a year ago, there was rumors out of Albany, we weren't gonna get a dime of chips.
Right, right. I
So
know.
that's why we went a little high on it
Okay.
last
Good.
year.
Anytime I see a figure here. And
Oh, yeah, no,
I think that's on that question.
I had a question on DA 5140.100, so it's another personnel for miscellaneous brush and weed services. I have requested 7,700, but tentative budget is 15,431. And looking at like this past year, it seems like that's more in line, but I just wanted to check and see.
you see what I put down. Usually, like I said, usually, personnel, I leave it up to Shelby, because she has all the rates.
Right.
Don't know why I put 77 on. I don't have any explanation on my sheet for it. Like I said, that's up to her. But it is in line with what we
Within the past, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I like that's what I'm not overly concerned about it, but I
Right.
just was curious because there was a difference between requested and what we put down for tentative. I have some water district questions. All right. So for Water District 1, and I think it's in line with the same question. I feel like it's a mix up between, I guess, so we have metered sales. Our actual has been pretty consistent, and yet we're budget for revenues, but we're budgeting, and our tentative is like $14,000 less than what we have actually been getting in. And I'm just not sure why we're budgeting so conservatively for that metered sales. And then the same thing with the, I know that it fluctuates, but I don't think it's gonna go down, for the, no, the second one down too, the meter sales Albion.
Dale, there isn't a reason that should go down, right? Nothing's changing.
No, if anything, they're buying more.
Right.
They're gonna buy more because of Eagle Harbor Road.
I know that Shelby would tell you it's a wash, but I agree with you. I don't see why that would not be 40.
Right.
Because if it's gonna be a wash, then it's just, all of the water districts are money in, money out.
Right.
But if our estimated revenue for 2021 is 40,600, why are we only at 26?
Right.
I do see, for appropriations, Albion, she's got the 185. I don't know if maybe then for appropriations, she's dividing up that 26, I don't know.
Right. It's not quite, it's not quite adding up for me.
I mean, it comes out to be the same, the 222, 831.
But this is one that, like, every month I have questions on because it doesn't line up in our monthly bills and like what receivables, and I think that we need to clean it up.
One problem, Gail Moline can address this better, but you gotta remember that Water District 1 is not just a standalone water district like 2 through 9.
Right.
Those monies in and everything else, like Maureen said, it's a wash. District 1 though is where the monies come from that we have to pay out to the village of Albion. We have,
Right. And what they pay us.
well, that's the town of Albion, what they pay us. You got the village and you got the town of Albion. So everything, all that money transaction takes place in Water District 1. So Water District 1's been a headache for a long time.
I just think that we can make it so that it's not as much of a headache.
You're not falling on deaf ears here.
Yeah.
I've been here since 2016, Carrie, and we haven't got it figured out yet. And every year we discuss it with the accounting.
Right, and it's not us, it's
No,
the accounting
it's the
that's
accounting.
trying to figure it out.
And they worked on different things and still haven't got it figured out.
Right.
They've requested all
Believe me,
sorts of things.
when we were able to go there,
Right.
they don't like to see me.
Right. Okay, and then my other question with the Water District 1 and actually with all of the water districts is this tank reserve fund and where the numbers are coming from, because we've budgeted it for it in some of the water districts and not in others. We've collected money in some and not in others. And it looks like I cannot figure out any type of consistency.
Are you looking at the maintenance fee?
No, it's the very last line in appropriations. The SW 9950.901.006 tank reserve fund. I can't find. I don't know if they're just using that to kind of buffer out the numbers, but there's no consistency.
I can only address the maintenance fee up at the top. I know I collect that on every single individual every quarter.
Right, and that's pretty straightforward. We're gonna
have to get a hold of Shelby and find out what.
I mean, Water District 8, there's none. But then, Water District 1, it's 8,000 or 7,620. District 2's 2,080. Nothing for District 3. 3,500 for District 4. And last year we brought in 5,500 from District 4 in that. District 5 is 3,000. I just don't understand at all where those are And then District 8 has nothing, District 9 is 1,200. Any ideas on that?
Why they're at zero?
Why they're all over the place?
It has, pretty much, I think it is based on your EDUs. I'm just guessing right now. Based on previous conversations. Without Shelby to talk to, I'm not gonna really guess, but I think it's based on your EDUs. But it's obvious that there are EDUs in those other two water districts, and it's at zero. So I don't have an explanation, that doesn't seem right.
Right, okay.
So I've got it marked down, I plan on, I'll get her nasty little message saying I'm on vacation, but I'll talk to you on Monday.
Right,
I'm gonna send these questions to her this week so that she can get on it on Monday.
okay, that sounds great.
And that way, as soon as I get those responses, then I'll forward them right on to you guys.
Okay. I have one more question on not on. We didn't include the pilot for AES. Um, I know that those funds aren't going to come in until they're operational, but I feel like the project has been approved, and I'm thinking that they will be operational next year at some point, and that's should be like $10,500.
There is, I spoke with Shelby about that. Just like we created the 3 lines for the funds that we got from the 3 companies, Hemlock Ridge, AES, and Heritage, to pay expenses that would not be covered under intervenor. I also spoke to her that we gotta be taking a look at a new budget line for, if and when it occurs, for those funds coming from Heritage. They'll come in twice a year.
But
Not
that-
under the pilot, but based on the agreement that we agreed upon through the pilot. So that is, I don't believe she's got it on there at this time, but she does have it down in her notes, she promised me, that we'll have a budget line put in there just for those funds to be placed into, yes.
But I wasn't talking about that as much because that is if that won't be until it gets approved, and if it gets approved, and then it also won't be until operation. So
Right.
that's most likely not even going to be anything in this upcoming year's budget. But the AES project, I do think will be in this upcoming budget year.
That was a discussion we had, just like with Hemlock Ridge as well. So we've talked about this, and we're gonna need some, and she had to check into it as well to make sure it's okay. I don't know if it was the comptroller's office or the attorney general's office, but she was checking to see exactly, because she hasn't had the experience with other other municipalities and green energy projects. So she was gonna be checking into that, and we have discussed this. And as you pointed out, it's not going to affect us in 2022.
Well, I think the AES project would.
AES might. It might. If it does, it'll be towards the end of 22.
But my understanding was that they plan to be, or hope to be up and operational by the middle of, like, by next year, middle of next year, which would be, and at that point in time when they're producing energy is when their payments are due, right?
Well,
So,
we'll see. But we spoke to her about it. Okay, budget line's not here at this present time, but there will be a budget line in. She just wants to make sure she has it in the correct area, the correct code number on it, everything, and that comes from the state. And you can't fault her for trying to do her due diligence.
I think it's a pretty good budget.
We are under the tax cap. Okay, I've got, I think, like about 5 different questions here. I will type up and send it off to Shelby for a response for Monday. And I will inform her, because of the public hearing being on Wednesday for this, that I would like her responses prior to that date.
and I didn't see this on the website. Is this going to be on the website for people to be able to look at?
Tentative is on the website.
Dale, the building at the park, did they go up to bid or how does that?
If we put it up, no.
Oh,
I mean, I would shop for according to our procurement policy, I would shop for the materials.
Someone is here trying to get in the door. You wanna let them in?
You answer, Sean, whatever.
how big a building is that gonna be? Or-
Oh, you would ask me.
Oh, well, just.
No, I got it, I don't remember.
30 by 40,
Yeah, it wasn't,
close to that.
I don't think he's here for the meeting.
yep, 30 by 40, you got it, Tom. You have better memory than I do.
Remember going over it.
Yeah. Hopefully, material prices don't go a lot higher. We know they're gonna go up.
They said
I
some
tried
of
to-
them, some of them have come down a little. But
Yeah.
The problem there is they can't get the supply,
Right,
so.
right.
What if he asked for that's just unnecessary.
Yeah.
Kidnapped or something like that?
He's still talking to the gentleman
Oh, okay.
who seems to be explaining
Yeah, it
something
showed that one,
in detail.
well, one chip went on fire.
Yeah.
And then it showed about 40 of them, things floating in the,
That's where my son-in-law and daughter are stationed.
oh, is it?
Yeah. In LA.
The worst case on that is, I heard of someone, the chemo they're supposed to be taking is on that one of those ships.
Was it, see, that, the thing with it is they haven't really told us what's on the ships.
No.
I would think we should make our own chemo.
Okay, we all set then?
We're all set.
Okay. Do I hear a motion then?
I'll make a motion, the meeting would be adjourned.
Second.
Second was Carrie.
Yep.
All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you very much.
Good meeting.
Are these things shut down or what do we do with them?
Push the button all the way back.
Who was out there, Sean? Oh, that was Larry.
Don't forget, Black.
Did he want to come to the meeting?